welcome back to my channel. So today, let's talk about how you don't have to feel good about the holidays all the time. Some people, they may feel a little bit guilty, a little bit shameful for not being happy or not being ultra grateful. But first, hi, I'm Allicia, i.e. Allicia J, the walking, talking baby doll, and hopefully I'm here to give you a good day or a better day, okay? Okay. So while watching this, please comment anything that sticks out to you in this video. Thanks. You know, one of the things that I like about the digital, like social media and the evolution of like things becoming digital is that it does hold you accountable. It brings motivation. It opened the doors to like self-work, improving self-concept, the whole big industry of self-improvement. However, one of the cool things about social media is it brings light in terms to other things that we may not be aware of, such as toxic positivity. And you'd have some people say, oh, it's never a toxic thing to be too positive. And it's kind of like, well, in the same breath, yes, but if you're faking it and it's still not improving the quality of life, or you're just suppressing and holding down emotions, it actually has an adverse effect. You know, and let's just be real. Some of us, deep down, we hate having to fake things. We can't stand that icky feeling of faking it. Can we do it? Yeah. But would we like to be in an environment where we have to fake it or have to keep things cordial or suppress certain things and vibes that we feel, the grief that we may feel of certain loved ones that are passed away? There's so many different situations and scenarios that can add context to why somebody may not feel the best. And I wish we could normalize in society, instead of like pretty much forcing people to withdraw from society due to their depression, their anxiety, or, oh, she's just a stick in the mud. He's just a stick in the mud. He's always negative or seems depressive. Why can't we normalize actually sitting down with those people and being like, tell me about you. Are you okay? How you doing? Instead of like, oh shit, I ain't going over there. Like, ooh, they look moody as fuck, like they finna kill somebody. And as much of a not joke that it is, you know, I just wish that we had more compassion. And you don't have to have empathy, but at least like sympathy, to give someone the space to not be super jolly and ultra extroverted. And, you know, that makes a person have this huge, they know that there's a huge expectation to be like everybody else around them, and it actually prevents them from wanting to be present even more, be there even more. Lastly, I mean, you'd be surprised if you give someone a space and you open up the door to like hear their feelings, hear their emotions, and not just be stuck in like, oh, I gotta keep my bubble. You know, there's this hyper, like, anything that doesn't feel good to me, I do not have to interact with it or be around it at all. And that's not how you learn about different people and their experiences and who they are, where they come from, right? It's very self-centered type of society social media has also created, right? But that person may be even more excited to come around and do things and come out of grief because it's going to be fun to be around people who, they see me, they hear me, they feel me, right? Allowing people to not be, you know, everybody's personality is not the same, and allowing people to be who they are without pressure, right? Because that's another thing too, like, there's this pressure that becomes this like fake, this fake mask that people kind of like try to do it just to get along. You know, it's kind of isolating to kind of feel like you're the Debbie Downer or whatever like that, because you may have different views, or maybe you don't believe in certain holidays anymore, or you're evolving as a person. And I think we just don't have that much community to just ask each other about ourselves anymore. And some of us are extremely private. But sometimes you'd be surprised how just asking a person more than once, not just one time and giving up, but maybe asking more than once, like, oh, how you feeling? Or, you've been good, tell me about your life. And then just let them talk. And the more that they talk, you'll probably get a understanding on what's been weighing on them, man. I mean, look at all the stuff that's happening in the world. And I know people just want to skip and get to the good part, but the reason why everything that's happening in the world as we know it is because of not acknowledging the things of the past and creating a space to not only talk about it, but get to the action part, get to the reforming part of how do we prevent these terrors and this dysfunction of like multiple generations, right? Or unemployment and people not having a good quality of life.
Also, if you're having a hard time getting into the Christmas spirit because of the macro sociological historical climate, zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it, is the best word that I can find for it right now. Or simply this. You're not alone. It's completely understandable, very rational that your psychological, your mental health may be taking a toll in these times. And there are more people like you than you think. You don't have to force yourself to really get into it, but I would highly recommend to try to get as festive as possible, because intuitively, for some reason, I feel like this is the last, if you're in America, I feel like this might be the last, like, somewhat Christmas. Like, it's not Christmas because of all the stuff that's going on, but I feel like this might be the last, like, sort of close to normal Christmas that we'll have in a long time. And I'm not going to read, you can read in between the lines, but I just feel that on my soul. And it's like I want to make the most out of it, but at the same time, it's so challenging this time of year for my mental health. For some reason, it just always goes that way. And I think a lot of it has to do with just like, I've had really bad social anxiety since 2019, 2020, and it's been very hard for me to like be as social as I used to be. And I get very nervous because I'm very mindful too about every little thing, every little reaction, people's, like, the tones of voices, like everything is I'm very sensitive. And I'm accepting that I'm a very sensitive person, but at the same time, I want to be stern enough and, like, just normal, like, and when I'm in social situations and it makes me think more than I need to. But I'm noticing that I don't think when I'm having pure fun and I feel like I'm surrounded by certain people or the right people, if I'm not thinking a lot, that's a good relationship dynamic that I need to walk into and embrace a little bit more. But if I'm thinking so hard, it's because I don't feel something's missing there, and it affects me wanting to put energy into stuff. Like, I'm an Aries. I hate to bring my Zodiac in there, but as an Aries, like, we remove our energy. We remove our energy when we, like, feel like we're not cared about, or that something or a person is being, like, it's a big disconnect. It's a big disappointment. It's irritating. It's a conflict that cannot be resolved. We just don't sit there and, like, try to maintain something that is, like, not working anymore, and especially if it makes me discouraged. I'm completely just like, why am I here or a part of this? So all of these things, it just affects me, and I want people to know that they're not alone.
And some of us, we think deeply. I don't think it's to be negative. We just think deeply. We're sensitive. We're empathetic of others. And we're very observant. And we probably tend to overthink a lot about, am I acting? Am I showing up the way that others want me to show up as well, because of certain tendencies of our childhood and people pleasing and stuff like that. So just because somebody is not gung-ho as you or as festive as you, you know, you might be reading into it wrong. And this video is just dedicated to people who, every time they go and get into the holidays, like, it's okay to, like, hear other people also say that, hey, I actually don't like the holidays as much, or it doesn't feel the same way, or, you know, you have to create it and make it in a way that makes you feel comfortable and makes you feel good, and do small things and build your own traditions and join in friends or a friend or community if you want to in that way. But purely, if you're just not up for it ever, that might just not be who you are. And it's okay to feel that. It's okay to feel.
Some people who don't know how they're going to pay the bills, what bills they're going to take off, how they're going to, like, feed their families, how are they going to ration their money with the prices and everything going up. Some people, they're doubtful. Like, most of the younger generation feels like what I've been feeling for the last, I'd say, about 3 years now. Saturn and Pisces. Pretty much just feeling like not hopeful for the future. Not hopeful for the future, or like you have a future, you know? And people are trying to figure out how they could get their kids gifts. Some people saying that sitting their children down and saying, like, hey, like, Santa's not coming to our house this year. Like, there won't be any gifts, you know? Mom's always doing the most and keeping up the Christmas magic and spirit, and with no help. And this year it's even worse, you know. It's
And process things like grief, any types of grief, because there's more than just, like, we have grief like multiple times a year, not just like death or anything like that, but we experience grief of losing a job, grief of, like, losing a sense of purpose. You just never know. And depending on the situation, I just think it's great to hear a different side of understanding somebody else, right? And it needs to be out there, and we need to be aware of it, aware of how we're feeling, aware of how we're interacting with others, and do our best to show up in the ways that we feel comfortable, most importantly. Okay.
I don't know, you guys. A lot of us are feeling fatigued, or we're not feeling like ourselves. And that's okay. It's simply okay.